Alright, shalom, shalom to the nation of Israel, shalom. Alright, this is your brother Kazaki out of Great Millstone, New Orleans, coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shah, right? But prior to getting started, we want to give all infinite honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Al-Kakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Peace, blessings, and salutations be to the whole elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, all right? And the title of today's lesson is going to be The Kingdom of Heaven, Where Dreams Come True. Okay, that's the title of today's lesson, is The Kingdom of Heaven Where Dreams Come True. Okay, and as the scriptures say, we look forward to a new heaven and a new earth, okay, wherein dwelling righteousness. And I'm gonna get that real quick, all right? Bear with me. Let's see. All right, Salakia. Okay, I found it. Salakia. All right, this is Second Peter, Second Peter 3, and I'll start at verse 11. It says, "Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved," right? And we know that America, Babylon the Great is going to be destroyed with thermonuclear fire, okay? And that's, these things are being dissolved, the elements, basically meaning just everything in general, the buildings, the people, the tanks, the Humvees, the helicopters, whatever's left in Babylon the Great is going to be completely turned into ash, okay? And it says, "What manner of persons are ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness?" Okay, so what you should be doing with your time, right? What is your behaviors, your mannerisms, okay? How you should be thinking, how you should be acting, okay? If you know these things are going to be true, okay? All right, and it says, verse 12, it says, looking for and hastening unto the coming of the day of God, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. It says, "Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens," right? New dominion, right? New rulership, okay? Where the Lord is going to come and set up his what? His kingdom, okay? And it says, "And a new earth." And it says, "Wherein dwelleth righteousness." And that's Yahweh Shem Shah, right? That's the kingdom of heaven, right? That's everything we hope for, everything we look for, everything, pretty much everything we could, ever wanted, so to speak, because the brothers do want to be righteous, man, okay? All right, the brothers want immortality, right? Not to be sick, okay? The law is planted in the inward parts. And we're going to get, a few of those scriptures, okay? All right, so we gotta have the Lord be the one to set it up, okay? This is Isaiah 9 and verse 5. So it says, "For every battle of the warriors with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire." So that's basically, World War III, the ICBM missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles being shot off to the ends of the earth, from one end of the earth to another, hitting its targets, right? The main target is here, Babylon the Great, aka America, okay? And it says, verse 6, it says, "For unto us a child is born," right? And it says, "Unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders." And it says, "And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty Power, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace," right? Speaking on Yahushua, "Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end," okay? And who's going to have the peace? Okay, the Israelites, all right? Chiefly starting with the elect of the nation of Israel, and then the others who will be reborn, okay, in the kingdom of heaven, all right? And it says, upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, right? Because King David will be ruling, with Yahushai, right? In order, obviously, Yahushai, then King David, and 144,000, all right? And it says, and upon his shoulder to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth, even forever. And it says, the zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. Okay, so the Lord is going to do what it is that he wants to do. What's written in these scriptures, the Lord is going to do, okay? All right, let's go to the next precept, right? All right, this is Romans 8 and verse 18. It says, for I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. Okay, so that's what, man, the changing, right, of the men of the Lord, man. Okay, right, we're given a total new body, right? But right now we're suffering in this flesh, man. We're basically, being bound to these bodies. I believe they're called the, if I'm not mistaken, it's mentioned in Peter's and Jude, basically being bound in these, like the chains of darkness, okay? Until the coming of Yahweh Bashim Shai, right? But that's glory to be revealed in us, right? The scriptures say the kingdom of heaven starts within you, right? But like I said, it's everything we, we could ever want, man. Peace, rest, scriptures say the Lord will wipe away our tears, okay? Let's get this here. This is 2nd Ezra 8 and verse 52. It says, for unto you is paradise opened, right? The tree of life is planted. The time to come is prepared. Plenteousness is made ready. A city builded and rest is allowed. Okay, that's what we want, man. Rest. And it says, yeah, perfect goodness and wisdom, right? Because we're gonna get wisdom basically in its perfection. Okay, perfected wisdom, when that time comes, right? But what? Rest is allowed because the scriptures tell you that Esau, Salakia, what's this? And this is speaking on, Esau, Edom, the Edomites, so-called white man. It says, and this Daniel 7 and 25, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High. So that's why we need rest, because, going back to the previous verses, right? The previous verse, okay, because, we've been wore out by this devil, man. Okay, the scriptures tell you that, he's come to make war against the Israelites, man. Against a woman in her, and I believe it says a woman in her seed, man, or the remnant, okay? And it says, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand unto a time and times and a dividing of time, okay? So yeah, man, we need peace, man. We need rest, okay? These devils, been on us, since the first day allowed it, and they haven't let up yet, man. Okay. Bear with me one moment. All right, let's go to the next verse here. All right, next verse. This is Revelation 7 and verse 14, and it says, and I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said unto me, these are they which came out of great tribulation. So before the enter the kingdom of heaven, it's going to be what? Great tribulation, okay? And it says, and have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Okay. Our covering, is Yahweh Bashim Shai, right? Okay. And basically, we have purified, the ways by walking in the way of the Lord, man, by doing the things that the Lord told us to do. Okay. And it says, therefore, are they before the throne of God and serve him day and night in his temple, and he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them. Okay, and it says they shall hunger no more, neither thirst anymore, neither shall the sun light on them, and it says nor any heat. Okay, it says verse 17. It says, for the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them and shall lead them unto living fountains of waters. Okay, and God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. Okay, so the Lord, is going to bring an everlasting dominion, an everlasting peace, right? An everlasting love, an everlasting joy, right? An everlasting rest, man, right? These are the things that's going to come with the kingdom of heaven, right? Immortality, spiritual power. Okay, so the kingdom of heaven, when that comes, and Lord willing, right, we be the first fruits, we be the first selected, to enter in, it's going to be a dream come true, man. Like I said, everything you ever wanted is going to be in there, This is, let's get this here. This is Isaiah 60 and verse 19. It says, the sun shall be no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give thee, give light unto thee. Salakia. But the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light, and thy God thy glory. And it says, thy sun shall no more go down, neither shall thy moon withdraw itself. And hey, look, when we receive those perfect bodies, like I said earlier, the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, will come into perfection, man. All right. And it says, for the Lord shall be thine everlasting light, and the days of thy mourning shall be ended. It says, thy people also shall be all righteous. That's what we want, man. This is a beautiful thing to want this. Okay, in the kingdom of heaven, everyone will be righteous. That's of the nation of Israel. Okay, everybody. Okay, and it says they shall inherit the land forever. It says, the branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. Right? Now listen to what it says. It says, a little one shall become 1,000. Okay, and a small one a strong nation. And it says, the Lord will hasten it in his time. Okay, because in the kingdom of heaven, the elect, the first fruits, right? Okay, they're gonna do what, man? They're gonna do a lot of reproducing, okay, to bring back the fallen, right? The 2/3, the rebels or whatever, back, man. Okay, they're gonna have to come back and be reborn in the kingdom, with the right mindset, right? With the laws being planted in the inward parts. So that, you're gonna have many women, man. Okay, that's gonna also something that's gonna come with the kingdom of heaven. And the men of the Lord, so many words, obviously, are keen to women. Well, that's just, what do they say, so-called biology in general. That's the way the Lord made us, right? Man for woman, woman for man, okay? I'm going to read that one more time. And it says, and a little one shall become 1,000, right? So a little one, a young man, is going to bring forth basically like a nation of people, man. Right? But they're all going to be Israelites and they're all going to be righteous. Okay? And a small one, a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time. So when that time does come, the Lord's going to basically kind of going to feel like the Lord sped up the process. Okay? So to speak. All right? All right, let's go to the next precept. All right, this is Isaiah 65. And I want to say, okay, verse 17. It says, for behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind. Right? So nobody's not going to remember the old ways of the earth, man. The way the devil ran the earth, these Edomites, so-called white man, nobody's not going to remember that. Okay? So to speak, okay? I mean, don't get me wrong. We're not going to, we're going to know what it is that he done in his fullness, right? But it's not going to be held at regard, okay? Because everybody's going to be moving in righteousness, through the Lord, okay? And it says, but be ye glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. It says, for behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing, and her people a joy. And I will rejoice in Jerusalem and joy in my people. And the voice of weeping shall be no more heard in her. It says, nor the voice of crying. Okay? So look, the Lord's going to come and do what, man? He's going to take away, all the basically the sadness from the nation of Israel. You don't have to worry about your sons and your daughters going out, just to play outside and just come up missing, man, or turn up unalived. You're not gonna have to worry about that. The children is gonna be able to enjoy being children, man, and you're gonna be able to enjoy actually being a parent, watching them grow in righteousness and in the ways of the Lord, man. Okay? All right? All of these things will come with the kingdom of heaven. All right? Let's get this. All right, this is Hebrews 8:8. This says, for finding fault with them, he said, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. Okay? Showing you that what? You got to be an Israelite in order to be in a new covenant. And it says, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith the Lord. It says, it says, for this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws into their mind, and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. Okay? So, that's also coming with the kingdom of heaven, right? Everybody being righteous. Okay, no more sinning, no more going off, no more wicked ass thoughts, man. Okay, it is you just trying to make it throughout the day, but you got a plethora, demons trying to give you hell, man, trying to give you tribulation. I mean, you just want to be righteous. That's all you want to be. That's all you want to be. You don't want any of those, those thoughts or anything like that. But this is what you got to go through in this body, man. So you're going to be delivered from that. That's a great deliverance, a beautiful deliverance from Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay. being changed, being made perfect. All right, let's go here. This is Revelation 20 and verse 6. It says, "Blessed and holy is he that have part in the first resurrection." Right? And it says, "On such the second death have no power." Right? You don't want to get basically burned up, here in Babylon the Great, man. This is a blessing. All right? Right? The receiving of the kingdom of heaven. And it says, "But they shall be priests of the power and of Hamashiach, and they shall reign with him 1,000 years." So another title, another thing given to the men, okay, right, that's chosen out of this thing of the Lord, right, being priests unto the Lord, man. Now the scriptures tell you, we're gonna be a priest, a royal priesthood, right, a holy nation, okay, but that's a beautiful seat. That's a beautiful place to be, being a priest of the Lord, man, a priest of Yahweh Bashim El Shai. Okay, I think even I'm not sure, I forgot who said it, but maybe it was David that said he basically would rather be a doorman, at the Lord's courts or at the Lord's gates, for the kingdom of heaven, man. I know I'm roughly paraphrasing, but the point is, it's gonna be a beautiful thing, man. It's gonna be everything you could ever want and more, man. That's the whole point. Okay. But that's pretty much all I have. I'm gonna get one more. Slide, get one more. Yep. This is Revelation 2 and verse 25. It says, "But that which ye have already hold fast till I come." Slide. All right. And it says, Revelation 2 and 26, and it says, "And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations." So this is another aspect of getting what? The kingdom of heaven. You're going to be a priest of the Lord. You're going to get rest. You're going to be in peace. You're going to have a plethora of different women. Your children going to be able to grow up and actually enjoy being a freaking child. Okay? But the Lord is actually going to give you power, dominion, and rulership over the entire planet, man. Or I'll say power over the nations. Okay. If you're a man of the Lord, you're going to be over the nations. Right? You're going to be over the heathen. Right? That's what the Lord is saying here. And it says, verse 27, it says, "And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, right? As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father." All right. So you're gonna, you're basically gonna rule over them in a harsh manner. And the reason why is because that's what they did the Israelites. That's what they did us. So it's only right that we do unto them what they did unto us, right? Okay, let's get that real quick. It might be okay, this is second Thessalonians 1 and verse 6. It says, "Seeing it is a righteous thing with God to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you." I'm gonna get that same verse and see what it says in the GNT. It says, "God will do what is right. He will bring suffering on those who make you suffer." Okay, and we suffered at the hands of these other nations. Okay, so they're gonna suffer at our hands. Lord willing, we'll be at that number. okay, in the kingdom of heaven. All right. But that's pretty much all I have, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai. The title of today's lesson was, look, the kingdom of heaven, is basically where dreams come true, man. Everything we could want and more, the Lord is going to give it to us, man. Everything, because we're likened unto Yahweh Shema Shai's sons too as well, being joint heirs with the Lord. Okay. But yeah, like I said, that's pretty much all I got through the spirit of power, Yahweh Shema Shai. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying, first and foremost, to the hopeful elect. But prior to getting out of here, we want to give all infinite honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honor to the elders and apostles at Green Millstone who rule and teach well. Peace, blessings, and salutations be to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, all right? Kwame Yasha Allah, a Bible Ball, Shalom.